Tim, good morning, guys. Glad to get back on a normal schedule this week, and for the next 6 weeks we've got what I consider a normal schedule, and so today will be a typical Tuesday type practice and kind of get our guys acclimated to our normal routine, because to be honest with you, we really haven't had much of a normal routine this year, but I think our guys have handled that well, and but looking forward to a little continuity. Homecoming week is always special. Really appreciate the great job that our student body does here. Just a lot of energy that they bring to the campus this particular week, especially because of the floats and the home that's being built and all that. I just think it's always a special week when you can ride around and see all the pageantry that's associated with it. Wake Forest is 2-2 and well coached as always. 2 years ago, they came in here and we had to kick a game winner field goal. So these guys always play us tough, and our guys are going to have a great week of preparation, and we're going to play well because this is an opportunistic team, and we'll take advantage of any mistakes that you make. Offensively, the biggest thing that we're seeing in them is that they've done a lot. In 4 games. They've really presented a lot of different things from a play calling standpoint. So we've got a lot to prepare for, from the option to the spread and everything that comes with that. So big challenge preparation wise. They got 6 starters back, a quarterback, 10. Price is back. Got 3 good running backs. Harris is a guy that's been around for a long time for them and is a very good player. The guy that you better know and know where he is and have a plan for is Campanero, number 3. I think he caught 16 balls in 1 game. So he's a guy that is a player for them 2 years ago. He returned a punt against us. He had I don't know how many catches. So really good football player, and they do a good job of getting him the ball. So we've got to handle him. Offensively for us, looking at their defense, they got 7 starters back. It all starts for them with Whitlock up front, number 50. I thought he was gone. I couldn't believe that he was still on the roster. I don't think that guy is ever going to get out of this league, but he is a nightmare. The guy really is a good football player. He was the ACC Player of the Week this week, along with Vic Beasley as the D-line choice. And he just. You look at him, and he's probably not as tall as they list, and he don't weigh as much as they say he does. But man, he plays tall and big. Just a good football player, and to me, he's kind of the heart for them. That's where it all starts. But they're playing odd front, so they have 3 true defensive linemen in the game all the time. Not that they won't slide into some even stuff as well with their backers, but primarily they're an odd team. Linebackers are good players. Got a couple of starters back at backer as well, and then this secondary to me is as good as we've played. The 2 corners that they have, 7 and 9, are very good players. 3-year starters. Number 17 at safety, another return starter. But they do as good a job as anybody we play every year in the secondary. Their technique that they play, their fundamentals, their eye discipline that they have at that position is a challenge. You run bad routes, you have bad technique, it's picks against these guys because they know what they're doing. So big challenge for our guys outside in competing against them. And then special teams, number 3. He's a return guy for them. And we know very well what he's capable of doing. So I look forward to, getting out back in the Valley this week and hopefully playing our best game to this point. Our staff is going to be participating in the AFCA Coach to Cure MD program, which is a great program, something that we participate in every year. So we'll be wearing patches in regards to that. A couple of discipline issues. Not going to spend any time talking about it because it's not representative of our program. But from time to time, there's things that you got to correct. And the Isaiah Battle situation, we've said enough about that. Everybody knows that situation. And then Martavis Bryant will also have some team discipline. He'll play this weekend, but it will affect his playing time a little bit. So it's really all that needs to be said about it. And, because he had just a unacceptable gesture after scoring a touchdown that nobody even knew about until after the game. But it's just one of those things that's not representative of what we want. And, so there'll be some team discipline involved there for him. But and some injured guys. Everybody knows Peak is out for the year. Andrew Moss is out for the year. Kellen Jones is now out for the year. Kif Timothy is questionable this week. Did not practice yesterday, so we'll see where he is today. Questionable for now. Carlos Watkins, same thing. Hope he'll be back today. They kept him one other night. Definitely questionable with him this week and trying to get him back going, so not really counting on him at this point. And then Patrick DiStefano is dealing with some stingers in his neck, so he's also questionable for this game. With that, I'll take your questions.
Dabo, usually after you have kind of an open weekend like this, the team comes back refreshed and everything. But talk about the challenges. You guys had a serious knee injury. You have a guy suspended. You have a guy in a bad situation in a car accident. Do you kind of see any challenges of getting these guys refocused?
I thought they showed back up, ready to go. Monday morning, we met at 6:30 a.m. They had dinner Sunday night, so they had a check in, and all these guys got back here. Just the biggest thing was an opportunity to just reinforce to these guys, like we always do, that how fragile life is and how precious time is, and nobody knows when your time is up, and just make sure you're prepared for that, and be careful. We stress that all the time to these guys, and it's a really, really, really bad wreck that Carlos was involved in, and he is incredibly fortunate. Good Lord kept him here. Wasn't ready for him for whatever reason, but his cousin didn't make it. And, Carlos had his seatbelt on. And, we all know what a big man he is. And he was pinned in the car for over 2 hours. And it's just a miracle that he doesn't have broken bones or anything like that. I mean, he's still kind of getting his feeling back, because, he's locked up in there for a long time. Hopefully we'll get him back today and kind of get him going. And, there's some things we can do for him down in the training room to hopefully help him, just get back where he's feeling good again, and soreness and all that kind of stuff out of him. But just thoughts and prayers with he and all of his family. There's also Dane Rogers' cousin as well. They're all part of the same family there. So just a tough time for that family. And then you look up and Coach Tuberville and the Cincinnati football team, they end up losing one of their players. And those are things you always worry about when your guys do get opportunities to go home. But it's not just it's every day. You don't have to be going home to have an accident. Accidents can happen at any time. But just again, just an opportunity to kind of reinforce being careful of what you do and where you go and who you're with and all those things.
Brian's thing could make you a little thinner for a while, at least Saturday at receiver. You're just going to go along with
we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll be fine. I really like how Mike Williams is coming on, and a great opportunity for him to get a little more playing time. So we'll be fine.
Coach, just in regards to when Watkins gets back, what's one of the first things you think you're going to do when he comes in? You sit down and talk with him a little bit, and just curious as to what your plan is.
First thing I'm going to do is just hug his neck. Just thankful to see him. And, I've talked to him a few times, and young people not often have that. Sometimes they have a sense of invincibility, so to speak, and then all of a sudden you get thrown into a situation like that where you realize quickly that, life is very fragile and how lucky you are. And there's some emotion that's always involved with that. But just going to hug him and just tell him how glad I am to see him. And, we're going to do everything we can to just help him get back going and get through this valley that he's in. Tough situation. Same thing for Dane. Dane wasn't in the car, but he lost a family member as well.
Coach, the depth on the defensive line has been a big strength for this team. Can you sort of just talk about how that affects the game plan game to game?
Yeah, well, it's just I mean, as I said at the beginning of the year, and I know y'all looked at me like I was crazy up there at the golf tournament, but I really like our guys up front, and I think that they are becoming the strength of our team. And when you can be really good in the defensive line, man, it covers up a lot of issues because it creates problems for other people, especially when you have depth. And we've got, again, the right combination. For me, I think the first time since I've been a head coach is from a depth, talent, and experience standpoint. And they're good players, so they're playing hard, getting to the quarterback. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. We're creating turnovers, and that's what happens. Pressure and great effort defensively creates turnovers and fumble recoveries. And, our defense is doing a good job in all those areas, but it all starts up front. And the competition that you have at that position is very important because that affects your practice environment. And we got a very good situation there. Don't have any seniors in that group. They're all battling hard, competing, and they all want to play. And they're very unselfish. They pull for each other, and, man, they tap in and out of there, and they all go play. So really, really pleased with what they're doing right now. Marion and Dan have done a great job with that group.
Everybody sees Vic's impressive plays on the field, but can you shed some light on his sort of growth as a leader of that group for the last year or so?
It's really amazing. If you'd have told me 2 years ago that Vic Beasley would be emerging as a leader for us up front, that would have been kind of hard to believe at the time. But again, I mean, he's just one of those guys. It's a classic example of development and growth. A guy that's obviously got the talent, but maybe just it's not all together yet. Sometimes guys don't always buy in as quickly as we would like. But if they stick with it, usually they get there. And I think he's a classic example of that. And the big thing with Vic, as y'all know, I mean, Vic played running back in high school. He played running back and played some quarterback. Played a little bit of linebacker, not a lot. And he comes here, and we're thinking about putting him as a tight end. And I didn't think he was very natural at tight end, although he could have probably been a good tight end. But, I moved him to linebacker that spring, and he just didn't take to it as well. And, sometimes personalities and things like that can conflict, especially early on, and he just really wasn't in the mix there. But what I kept seeing in Vic Beasley was this guy. We don't have a better athlete on the team, and his great length that he had, and his quickness and suddenness and change of direction. So I called him in one day and said, "Hey, think about defensive end. You're not ready to be a defensive end yet, but if you'll buy into this, I really think you got a chance to be special here one of these days." And he looked at me like, and he's such a good kid. He's like, "Well, okay, I'll do it." But I don't think he had his heart in it. He did it because we asked him to do it, but his heart wasn't in it. He wasn't passionate about it. I think he still, in his mind, was hoping to maybe be on offense. And I approached him last year before the season in fall camp, and I told him, I said, "Listen, I'll make a deal with you. Let's just commit this fall. Just commit to it. And if you don't have a good year and you don't feel like that there's a role for you and that you have a future there, hey, I'll move you back to running back, and you can run the ball." And you know what? He could be a good running back. He really could be. But we all know how he developed last year. And then he just came out of that season with so much confidence. And that's what a little success will do for people. Just a little bit of success, although he wasn't ready to be a every down type of guy yet, a little bit of success went a long way for him. And he poured himself into the offseason, and because I don't think he was committed to putting the weight on and all that kind of stuff, but he picked up some really solid weight. He's always been one of the strongest guys on the team. He's just very gifted in that regard. But he's 235 now, and he's still emerging. We get another 10, 12 pounds on him. He's just going to continue to get better. But his fundamentals, his technique, Marion has done a tremendous job coaching him. His attitude, he's just a different guy. But he's also a fourth-year junior that's matured, and he's not a young man anymore. I mean, he's a full-grown man, and just really happy for him. It's great to see guys develop And now he feels like he belongs, and he sees that hope, he sees that future for himself, and he sees his opportunity. He really just wanted to be able to impact the team. And now that he's been able to do that, he's just, on his way. And he's having a lot of fun. And again, very unselfish guy, pulls, he loves for those other guys to come in there and play. And what Vic's not getting enough credit for is everybody sees the stats, rushing the passer, but what he's not getting enough credit for is what he's doing for us in the run game. He's sticking his nose in there. He's spilling runs. He's doing a very, very good job. He makes some plays that other guys don't make because he can run things down from behind. So he's a very good player that's really just kind of scraping the surface of what he can be as he continues to develop.
What do you feel like the difference has been from being an every down guy this year? Because I think the sack rate is even better than it was last year, and it was
Boy, playing more. Heck, I had to fight to get him in the game last year. He's just playing a lot more. Is the biggest thing. He's an every down player, and then his size. He's put on some size. He was just too light in the britches last year. Just that simple. And he's put on some solid mass and his strength. And, whatever he is, he usually plays. If he's 235, he plays probably 265, 270, and with his length and explosiveness, he's a handful.